Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again, and today we are talking full spoilers, so full spoiler warning here. We are talking about Godzilla vs. Kong, which, no worries, if you haven't seen the film, I did do a spoiler-free review, so if you want to get my full thoughts on the movie without spoiling anything, you can check out that video, or if you're like, should I see it? Is it worth checking out? You can get my full thoughts on the film, but if you've seen these two titans come head-to-head, you are in the right place. We're going to be breaking down the fight, who won the fight, talk about the ending, talk about maybe future films for these two titans. We're going to break it all down all in this spoiler discussion, but before we dive into it, make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts, which you can find those links in the description below. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing to the channel, and while you all are at it, make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. It would mean a lot to me if you all can like and share this spoiler discussion for Godzilla vs. Kong. It helps out the channel a lot, but I also appreciate the support. And in the comments, again, we're talking spoilers, so go ahead and let me know. Were you happy with the winner? Did you like Mecha-Godzilla and his appearance or its appearance in this film? And also, let me know your thoughts on what you would like to see for a future Godzilla movie as well as a future Kong movie. Let's talk about your thoughts and theories all in the comments below. So again, I will be leaving titles for each chapter in the description so you can kind of know the time codes of the different things that we'll be covering in this video. It's going to be a fun time. So let's go ahead and start this discussion off talking about, as I said in my spoiler-free review, the best character, the MVP, the scene stealer, the most fleshed out, most developed, the heart and soul of this film is Kong, in my opinion. And this is so crazy. This is coming from someone that was hashtag Team Godzilla. Now, I didn't have any hate towards Kong. I've seen more Godzilla films, and I appreciate Kong, but I was like, I think, Godzilla is going to win the fight, which we'll talk a little bit about later. But by the end of this movie, regardless of who won the fight, I was Team Kong by the end of the film, just because, again, I thought there was much more of a Kong movie. It felt more of a Kong sequel, more so than it did a Godzilla film, and we'll break it all down. But as the film opens up, it immediately got my attention. It made me care for Kong because we see Kong in captivity, which makes so much sense. Where was Kong in Godzilla, King of the Monsters? Well, we find out in the opening sequence, which was a great way to open the film. Again, makes you care for Kong. We see his morning routine, right? We see him scratching his ass. We see him taking a shower, stretching, doing some Kong stuff, which just immediately made me care for the character as we see that he's in this biodome created by Monarch, and they've been keeping him captive in a sense, right? Because we know that Skull Island has been kind of taken over by Monarch, so it made you care for Kong because you're like, man, this Titan who used to be free and kind of roam his land, he's not able to do that. So immediately I was emotionally connected to Kong's story, and I love how we open up that sequence, seeing this again semi artificial environment as he says hello to his best friend Gia, but then he takes that tree and throws it at the dome, and they're just like, we can't contain him for much longer because he's also getting bigger and bigger. A lot of people were always like, well, how is Kong gonna fight Godzilla? He's so much smaller. Well, we know that over time, especially from in Skull Island, he's grown, he's gotten bigger and bigger, and he's gonna only get bigger. So I kind of again love this opening here. But transitioning into my next topic, which was one of my favorite elements of this entire film, I mentioned it in my review. I love the sci-fi elements. Again, there's always been sci-fi Kong movies, Godzilla movies, but this one was just an extra ounce of sci-fi, right? As we get to continuation of Hollow Earth. Now, for those that have seen the previous films within the Monsterverse, and particularly why I feel like this was more of a Kong movie, we learned about Hollow Earth and the theory given to us by Corey Hawkins' character in Kong Skull Island, where they talk about this theory of the Hollow Earth, that there's a kind of a conduit and kind of exists to provide access from one part of the world to the other. And they also mentioned that they believe that Skull Island was kind of the pathway to be able to get to Hollow Earth, and it kind of explains why we see all these different creatures and monsters on Skull Island, because they've made their way up from Hollow Earth. So I love the Hollow Earth stuff. Again, it was all a part of Kong's story, which again, I feel like his story was more fleshed out. It had the cooler elements. It had the better humans, as I said in my review. So you can see that there, but I really loved how they brought up the Hollow Earth theory, how it played a part in this film, which leads us into characters like Alexander Skarsgård, who was an Hollow Earth expert, explains why Walter Simmons, the CEO of the Apex company, wanted to go to him to go to this quest to find the Hollow Earth so he can harness this special power ability to make his own Apex Titan, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But let's talk about in regards to why did they need to go to the center of Earth to go find a hollow Earth? Well, like I just alluded to, the CEO, the president, the director of Apex wanted to harness this special power that can make his own Apex Titan, and he can only get that power from hollow Earth, which explains Kong's axe having power, as well as Godzilla, which we'll talk a little bit about later. But he wanted to harness that power to create his own Godzilla of a sort. So going back to another question that you guys may have had when watching this film, well, when it comes to Walter Simmons and his motives, what were they? I don't want to say they were unclear, but I would say, based on what we were given in this film, that he wants the humans to be on top of the food chain, right? He doesn't like the fact that there's Godzilla, there's Kong, there's Titans over the world that can just literally take out the humans whenever they want. So I kind of see what his motives were in regards to just, I want humans to be the apex predators. I want us to be at the top of the food chain, but I wish it was a little bit more emotionally satisfying, right? I know these films have played this card many times in regards to, I would have liked it if Walter Simmons, if he had a family, and in 2014's Godzilla, his family was killed, or in, Kong Skull Island, there was some type of relation with one of the soldiers being his dad or whatever the case may be, right? I wish there was more of a motives of why he wanted the apex Titan that he creates later in this film to take out these Titans. I wish it was a little bit more emotional connection. I know, again, Madison and everything that went down with King of the Monsters, they used that, obviously, that their son died, her brother died. I know they went to that well several times. Even Alexander Skarsgård, his brother died looking for Hollow Earth. So they've used that card before, but I wish there was more of a better reason why Walter Simmons was so gun-ho on creating Mecha-Godzilla. So going back into the discussion, the meat and potatoes of this spoiler review, Godzilla versus Kong. Who wins the fight? How does it all break down? So let's go ahead and break this down, starting off with round one, which we're going to give round one to Godzilla. It's about 40 minutes into the film when we first see the Titans come on the screen together. It's the boat sequence, which I love, that each kind of fight, it plays to the advantage of the Titan. So obviously Godzilla had an advantage. He was on water. He's a lizard. But also, to be fair, Team Godzilla versus Team Kong, to be fair, Kong was just under sedatives, so he was just kind of waking up out of sedatives. He was also chained for most of the fight, so I'll give him a little bit of advantage there. But again, Godzilla was going to ultimately win because he was at home field advantage. But again, going back to my connection to Batman versus Superman, I look at the first fight very similar to how I look at Superman versus Batman. Obviously, Superman was still recovering from having, the spear being brought into the mix and kind of taking him out of the equation. And very similar to, again, Kong, he was just woken up by these sedatives. He was just tied up to the boat. So I'm giving him a little bit of leeway in this first fight. But nonetheless, as we see these Titans fighting for the first time, we see Kong throwing aircrafts at Godzilla. We see Kong lands the first. It's a really clean punch, by the way, but then Godzilla wasn't shaken. He hits Kong even harder, which shakes up Kong. We see Kong pushes Godzilla in the water, which, Kong, that was your first mistake, buddy. Why are you pushing this lizard, this Titan that loves the water, into the water? As we see Godzilla throws out his atomic breath, and immediately Kong jumps in the water, and it was KO at that point, because we see Godzilla is literally drowning Kong at this point in the film, but the humans help out Kong in this first round as they throw in the missiles to kind of get Godzilla off of him. So Kong was saved by the humans in that first fight, and he was shooken by this first fight. So again, round one goes to Godzilla. But before we go to round two and round three, why was Godzilla attacking the people? Well, this film establishes that we see Apex has the skull of Ghidorah. So wherever Apex was, we saw Godzilla wreaking havoc. That's because he felt the sense, he saw, he smelled, he felt the presence of Ghidorah. So Godzilla's like, I killed that creature years ago. Why is he back alive? So that's why we see Godzilla attacking, the different facilities of Apex, which again, to me, Godzilla's storyline was okay. I much more preferred Hollow Earth. I much more prefer Kong. But again, it makes sense why he was attacking these, because he thinks that Ghidorah, I killed Ghidorah. Why do I still feel its presence? So back to the fight, ladies and gentlemen, round two, which Kong wins round 2. Again, I love that the film plays to the advantages of these titans. We get the water with Godzilla. Now we have buildings. Now we have the sea versus the land, and on land, Kong takes the first, or to say the second round. We see him jumping on the buildings, throwing things at Godzilla, taking advantage of him being a monkey, being more athletic. Which, speaking of athletic, we're going to talk about round 3. Godzilla was moving pretty quickly. I've never seen Godzilla move so fast, right? But nonetheless, we see at this point with round 2, Kong has his new axe, which has been powered up at this point. So he's feeling good about himself, but unfortunately, that victory did not last that long because Godzilla, he wins round 3. We see him have the finishing blows on Kong. We see him being more of a lizard because at this point, again, I've never seen Godzilla move so quickly. Both of these titans had like a kind of a credit to their screen presence in this film. Godzilla was much quicker than we've ever seen Godzilla in any of the MonsterVerse films. He's been quicker in other films, but in the MonsterVerse, he's never been this fast. We obviously know that Kong had to get bigger to fight him, so they both had like advantages per se, but seeing Godzilla move quickly, biting Kong, we see him being a lizard, we see him scratching his chest, putting his feet on Kong's chest. Again, Godzilla was going ham. Nonetheless, we see Godzilla yelling at Kong, saying, "Take this L. I don't want to kill you, but I will kill you." We see Kong goes back at him, but ultimately, again, Kong loses the third round, which, if you tally that up, round 1 goes to Godzilla, round 2 goes to Kong. Round 3 goes to Godzilla. So Godzilla is the definitive winner. We see Kong is knocked out at this point on the verge of death, but it's not until Nathan, Alexander Skarsgård's character, rewires the hive machine, explodes it on Kong's chest, bringing him back to life. But before we get back to him coming back to life, we got to talk about the Mecha-Reveal, which was Mechagodzilla, which if you followed the trailers, you followed the toy leaks, we knew that this character was going to make his way into the film, and we learned that it is King Ghidorah's head that is creating Mechagodzilla. And last time we saw him was in the post-credit scene of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I wish Charles Dance's character would have been in this film to kind of explain how we went from point A to point B, how Apex got in contact with the black market, but we don't get that in this film. But before we get into the fight of the big 3, who is Mechagodzilla? If you are not familiar with the character was first introduced into the monster universe back in 1974 by the amazing title Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. In that film, Mechagodzilla was an alien robot, a super alien, but obviously in this film, it is powered by Apex. It needs a pilot, which that's where Ren character comes in, which is actually the son of Ken Wakanami's character that we get in the Godzilla film, as well as Godzilla King of Monsters. So he was going to be the pilot, but unfortunately, we see once they have harnesses the power by Walter Simmons getting the power from his daughter, Isa Gonzalez's character was just so pointless in this film, as well as Madison and her friend Peter. All that stuff was, again, watch my spoiler-free review. I was not a fan of that plot, but they have the power, but now the power has brought back Ghidorah, and now Ghidorah kills Ren. He ultimately kills Walter, and now Mechagodzilla is on its own. This power, we see Mechagodzilla has taken over, or I should say Ghidorah has taken over Mechagodzilla, which leads us into the finale where we see the ending happen. At this point, we got Mechagodzilla versus Godzilla. Kong has been brought back, but in this fight, Godzilla's about to take an L. He's already tired. He's weary. He's just fought Godzilla back to back, so he's losing this fight, but ultimately we see Kong saves Godzilla. We see that Godzilla shoots his atomic breath at the axe that Kong has acquired. We see that he takes that axe and just going to work on Mechagodzilla, ultimately decapitating its head, ripping out his head, and Godzilla and Kong have teamed up to take out Mechagodzilla. So with that kind of wrapping up the film in regards to how we get to this point, we see this acknowledgement between the two titans, Godzilla and Kong. They look at each other. Godzilla says, "Hey, I appreciate you helping me out, but watch where you're going next time," as well as Kong's like, "Hey man, I helped you out there. You did get me on a couple blows there now." So they have this kind of acknowledgement of like respect for one another, but who knows where their paths will lead. But as we wrap up the film, we see that Kong is now the king of the Hollow Earth. We see Gia and Rebecca Hall is observing all this stuff. So that's kind of ending the film. We open the film with Kong, we end the film with Kong, which again, I felt like this was more of a Kong movie, more so than a Godzilla. But as predictions go, If I were WB, I would bring back Adam Wingard because I thought he did a great job of giving us an incredible Kong, making us, or at least for me, speaking for me, I thought that Kong was relatable. He was funny. You know, he had great emotional moments. He had great action moments. I felt like he was the heart and soul, his relationship with Gia. I felt like Adam Wingard did such a great job. He did a great job with Godzilla too, but I felt like he would be a great director for a King Kong film, him being the king of the Hollow Earth. Again, in Hollow Earth, there were shrines, so there might be people on Hollow Earth. There's other creatures on Hollow Earth. Maybe Godzilla is like, hey, I want to be the king of Earth and I want to be the king of Hollow Earth, so they might clash again. But I would love to see a sequel to Kong with Adam Wingard, him being King Kong of Hollow Earth. Then going to Godzilla in regards to a sequel or another film from him. Again, going back to Charles Dance, maybe there's other Titans, these body parts that he's acquired on the black market that he's selling to another Apex. Again, it would seem like a little repetitive, but I can see them using Godzilla to go against another creature that's been taken by Charles Dance's character, by another Apex, and they're creating more of these Titans of their own. So again, there's people that want Earth to be ruled by humans, not by Titans. So I can see them doing that for another Godzilla film. So those are my predictions. That's my breakdown of the fight. Again, Godzilla won, but Kong did save Godzilla when he was fighting Mecha-Godzilla. Again, we broke it all down, the fights, the ending, all that fun stuff. So again, I hope you all enjoyed this breakdown. Let me know in the comments, are you okay with the winner? Did you feel like Kong was ultimately got a little bit snubbed because Godzilla was moving quicker than ever before, right? So did you feel like the right winner won? Or were you like, you know, Godzilla should have took that L? Let's discuss that. And also let me know your theories for a future Godzilla film, a future Kong film, and maybe how these two Titans can go for another round. Let's discuss it in the comments. Make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comment section. As always, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss any of my other content. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Hope you're staying safe. We'll see you in the next video.